Yes, guys, welcome back to the Once You're In podcast. We are here with a Q&A episode today. So we're just going to jump straight in. Thank you for those of you who have asked questions. If you want to know how to ask questions, we put a questions box on our Instagram every Thursday morning because we record on Thursdays. So if you want to ask us a question, then you can either go onto my Instagram or Reese's Instagram and ask a question in the questions box. Or you can potentially ask on any of these videos on YouTube, just in the comments section.
Yeah, pretty simple. We seem to be splitting them up recently. Content spamming, that's why. But also we do actually talk for a good amount of time. And I feel like if we only have when we only had like an hour and a half, we used to like kind of cram it in towards the end, and you end up like some questions. Sometimes like the questions we get are pretty naff, but sometimes
I think it's good having like separate.
Yeah, so it's like depends on really
specific episodes for specific topics.
Yeah, exactly. And then some people probably like the more fast fire, like different sort of questions. Some people would prefer a whole topic regarding X or Y or Z or whatever. So, yeah, do you want to get started off, mate?
Okay, so HJ Randall asked, should you still be hungry after finishing your last meal of the day in the off-season / bulking?
Mate, if you can get more food in, fucking do it, bro. You're missing out on gains. You're missing out on gains, brother. Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to say this is a stupid question because no question is stupid, and he's saying this out of a place of probably sincerity and stuff like that. However, you should be hungry. Like, I'm not saying, like, let's say you should be starving, like, to the point where you're like, oh my God. But then even after a prep, after a diet, you should be hungry. Like, people think hunger is bad.
I don't think you should base whether or not you're hungry on whether or not you need more food.
No, definitely not.
If we were to, I always say this to clients, if we were to base our intake from our appetite, then
we'd be obese.
Well, we wouldn't. We'd never be either end of the spectrum. You know what I mean? You'd always just be at sort of homeostasis.
Yo-yo diet well quick.
Yeah, well, you'd never get lean because you'd be like, I'm a bit hungry, so I'm just going to eat a bit more.
Yeah. And
you'd never really get big in an off season because you'd be like, I'm full, so I'm not going to eat more. Like you'd never get to either end of the spectrum. You'd just sort of stay where your kind of homeostasis is. So for people who don't have a huge appetite, you'd stay lean. For those who do, you'd stay a bit heavier. You'd never really get to either end. So I wouldn't just base off your appetite whether or not you need more food. If that was the only thing that sort of drove our intake, then we'd never really get where we need to get to in a given phase. So
I'd also think as well, like food selection, like where your macros are placed. Like, let's say if you're training on, let's say 3 meals, and you're having all your fats, meal 1, 2, 3, and then you're having post-workout and post, there's like not that much fat. Like you probably will be actually pretty hungry. Like, and it's one of those where again, like you don't really want to base, as Finn said, like too much of actual appetite itself. You want to look upon things and think like, if you can't eat in a growth phase, you're not going to be able to grow that well. So the longer that you can keep yourself hungry, the better. And I think a lot of people get into a mindset that like more food is better. And it's like the reason why we eat is literally to fuel performance. If you're training well, you're feeling good, even if you're hungry at the end of the day, cool. Like don't worry, like continue with that. Like you're going to make progress.
Like, what's your rate of gain looking like? You know, if you're gaining and you're gaining gradually, you're performing really well. I couldn't really care less if you're hungry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if a client was to be saying to me like, oh mate, I'm really hungry. And I'm sure you'll have the same. Like, I have clients who are saying that, and I'm like, yeah, but you're gaining at X amount per week, which is more than or the same as what we want.
Yeah.
Your training's going really well. You're looking good. I'm not just going to give you more food because you're hungry.
Yeah.
It's like if you were saying a diet, I'm really hungry. Oh, right, here's loads more food then. I hope you're all right. Yeah. Like, no, you're supposed to be hungry, like you're dieting. Like, and it's not just because, I'm in a gaining phase, I shouldn't be hungry. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with being hungry. If anything, like Reece said, it's actually quite a good thing that it means we've got room to keep pushing food up if your appetite's in a good spot. Yeah.
I also think as well, you get better at dealing with the mental quirks as you get deeper into like actually bodybuilding itself. So like, the last prep, I don't think I was hungry once. Like I was subjectively, but I don't ever think to myself I'm hungry.
No, I think after, it's always post show where you actually open up to your emotions.
Yeah, and afterwards, after a show, you are going to be hungry after a few weeks, and like just building stuff up and like having a little bit less stress and stuff like that. You will be hungry, but like I'd say for myself, in the last 3 years, I've had a month or two where I've been like noticeably like the last 3 years, so 36 months, 2 months where I've been like I'm hungry.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say it's not hunger, it's more so just food focus and thinking about like when your next meal is. Whereas like if you're in an off season for long enough, you don't even think about that. If anything, you're like, oh shit, I need to eat.
Yeah, definitely.
But it depends, like how long have you been gaining for? So like asking this guy that asked the question, like he might be 1 month into an off season.
Yeah.
In which case I'd be like, yeah, of course you can still be hungry at the end of the day.
Yeah.
If you're 12 months into it and you're maybe 30, 40 pounds up,
I'd probably say that's wicked. I'd be like,
good. Yeah, I'd say, yeah, that's not a bad thing that you're still hungry at the end of the day. It probably is just a case of how you're managing your food, but that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that if you're performing well and if you've actually, gained and you are gaining at a decent rate. Yeah. I wouldn't be worrying about it.
Yeah, right. This carries on not more food, but like actual composition relative to a gaining phase. Should a bodybuilder have visible abs year round, softer in the off season, of course, but still visible? I'd say so. I'd say it depends though on where you're at. Like if you've got a good amount of muscle, I'd want to see, because I actually got asked this by one of my clients, like what do you class like good condition and off season is? I was like, it's very person dependent, but I think there should be like some midsection detail. I think there should be some lines still like in the areas where you've got some muscle. If you literally just like blur from like your midsection to like your chest, then you have no delt tie-in, you've got no arms, no vascularity, you're probably too fat. But then also if you don't have a lot of muscle, you probably have to go to those periods where you do look objectively very soft and chubby, like to actually take steps forward in your physique.
Yeah, there's a certain level. It's difficult to say exactly what that level is. Like, probably going to be dependent on the person and how they feel, confidence wise. If they hate how they look and that's impacting their confidence and that's impacting their performance, like then let's pull back. Or if they're really struggling to get food in and their sleep's been horrendous and their appetite's in the bin, let's pull back. Yeah. I'd go more off of those things rather than just actually how they look. I'm also go off, well, how do you actually feel? Yeah. How's your performance? What's the sort of biofeedback saying? But yeah, like if we were to try and put arbitrary values on it, like, I'd be saying you don't really want to be having body fat that's like hanging over your boxers. Yeah. You don't want to be able to sort of grab like loads of excess body fat. Like if you get into that point where it's like I just feel really, really fat, then you probably have pushed a bit far. But again, visible abs, like different people will class that as a different thing. Like I had visible abs at 230, but did I really? Like it's just because my abs are okay and I don't store that much fat there. I store a lot more through my glutes. Like I didn't really have any lines in my quads at all, like any separation in my quads at that body weight. So if I'm looking at that, then I go, oh shit, I need to diet. But then if you're looking at your arms, you go, oh, they're pretty lean. Like it depends on body fat distribution. So I wouldn't go just off of the actual sort of the look itself. I'd go off more so how do you actually feel and what's all the feedback saying as to when you probably need to pull back.
Yeah, and that's a good answer.
JP.
No, yeah.
Do you think it'll be food related?
My one's food related from him. Yeah. Is it food related?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck's sake.
It's not too. It's not like
mine's awful. Like from him, it's really bad. Yeah.
He's not asking about food. Well, he kind of is. Rewatching old podcasts. Has Reese had a Tesco meal deal yet?
No.
Do you know what's funny? And I can't remember who this client was. I can't remember who it was. I remember telling you. I kept saying meal plan. So they were in their check-in. They were like, "Oh mate, I've been having these meal deals. Meal deal." They kept saying meal deal, and then I was talking in the check-in about about meal deals, but I kept saying meal plan because I just don't really talk about meal deals, so it's not in my vocabulary. So I was like, meal plan. So you keep having these Tesco meal plans, and I was like, I mean meal deal. But yeah, have you not had one?
No, I don't. Again, I've said this before. I don't. Is it just a pack of crisps? Drink.
It depends. You can get what you want. Like I feel like you will have done like I feel like at the airport or something before you'll have got like a Boots is good for a meal deal.
I've never thought to myself like I've always been very much like what I want I'll just get. So I've never in my life that I can remember ever thought I'm going to get a meal deal because you get a couple quid off. Like
no, but it's not like that though. Like I know what you mean, but like. Yeah, so but like I can't remember the last time I got one, but I remember like in the past I've got one at the airport from like WH Smith's or Boots because like if you're on the plane, I'm going to be on the plane for about 5 hours. I don't really want to get the food on the plane because it's not great, so I'll get a meal deal which is going to be decent, and you can get like pasta or a sandwich, sushi as a snack, or like little chicken bites as a snack, or a protein bar, and then like I'll just get a water or a Pepsi Max or whatever. Yeah. So it's like. It's a decent meal. You could probably have like 50 protein, maybe like 20 fat, and probably like 75 carb. Yeah. So, oh, cool.
Yeah. It's interesting that JP remembers that.
Well, he said he's watching old ones. Yeah. He doesn't just randomly remember.
Yeah, no, he just remembers it. He goes, I'm watching old ones. And the only thing I kept thinking about is, why has Reece not had a meal deal?
He's been searching through the old podcast for any title that included food.
Yeah, right. His question. It's 11 p.m, nightmare of a day, couple meals missed, 3,000 calories to get in. What are you choosing?
Why is he coming up with that stuff?
He just JP man, come on, bro. Like, it gets to a point and it's like, are you for real? Like this is just like binge eating tendencies.
He
like,
does just
like
love food.
sometimes just missing out meals so you can just.
Like
get
I said though, like he was so like throughout the prep, he didn't even once waver or go like, "Oh mate, I've eaten over."
Mate,
or...
you ruined your clients with food focus. Noah, not Noah. Sorry, Noah, you were sound. Josh was. I said no because I said Niall. Josh was like literally licking a fucking Squares bar wrapper because he said to me, he was licking a Square bar wrapper 20 minutes after he ate it, and I was like, "Why are you doing that?" He goes, "You can still taste it." I was like, "You're fucked." What Niall was like for his first show, the A1 show, was telling me all he's going to eat that evening, and I was like, "You're still prepping, you know?" And he was like, yeah. And then when like you gave him some rice cakes, he was like, "Yes, rice cakes, come on, get in." Jack's got the worst food focus I've ever seen in my entire life afterwards, and it's like, mate, what are you just all you do is talk about food to your
thing
clients
is, like,
towards
I feel
the end.
like Niall never spoke to me about food, and then he just went and did stuff like that, and I was like,
"He's telling me
that's not great, mate."
He wasn't telling he was telling me.
And afterwards he was like, "Yeah, I should have really told you."
Yeah, should have told you.
I feel like probably getting very lean. Yeah, like because the people that are going to have a higher food focus got very lean, and being in a prep for a decent length of time, like it happens. Like it's part of the process. Your food focus is going to be pretty high, and you have to manage it. Like even my post show for me was a lot harder this time than it was last time because I got leaner and I was leaner for longer. But then you think that there's ways that you could definitely manage it better. But at the end of the day, would Jack change his prep and his results?
No.
You know what I mean? Would Josh?
No.
It's. I think a lot of people go, "Oh yeah, I wish I could have managed that better." It's like, yeah, but also you got to look at how well you did.
Yeah.
The reason that Jack won a lot of his shows because of his level of condition. Obviously, he's got a lot of muscle. Yeah. The reason that Josh did as well was, again, if Josh had have been at 73 kilos. Like when he was competing, even if that's like peak off season for him. But let's say he'd have been, and people step on stage like massively out of shape. Yeah. If Josh had have been at 67, 68, like he wouldn't have looked anywhere near as good. You know what I mean? It's like it makes a massive difference just getting into, like Niall, for example. Like Niall will be the first to say that he's not got the most muscle, and he had to get peeled to be competitive, and he was competitive. Like especially in his earlier shows when he was a bit fresher. Yeah. Before he started overeating, in between his shows, he was actually doing pretty well. Yeah.
So anyway, mate, what's the answer? So you got it. And Jack, I will say, mate, like I always find like if it's, let's say it's legitimately 11 p.m. and I'm like a couple meals down and I need 3k calories, I wouldn't eat 3,000 calories because it's 11 p.m.
I'd be like, what?
I'd be like, well, I'd be like, firstly, it wouldn't happen. Like, and that's the boring answer. But if it was to happen, I'd be like, well, I'm just going to get a meal in, and I might.
It is a good question though. Like any question is a good question. We shouldn't take the piss out of questions.
No. I'm taking the piss out of Jack and his food, not the actual question.
That's
if this
fine.
was anybody else,
I do that every day, every week.
If this was any other person, I'd be like, great question, mate. But because it's Jack, it's like you food
for the team meetup. I was like, I just put in the group chat. I was like, Jack, you're in charge of food, and he was like, we can go here. There's this place.
25 links. So yeah, that'd be funny. But yeah, when it comes to that, what I would look at is like if you need the reason again, what I said earlier on the last podcast, listen to that. If you need thousands of calories, like you eat to fuel performance. If it's 11 p.m, you don't need 3,000 calories. Your sleep's going to be wanky. You're going to feel shit. You're not going to wake up the following day with no appetite. So what I would say is I'd probably have a normal meal. I might have a little bit more. Like I might potentially add like something on the side that's going to digest well. But I wouldn't be like, if I let's say you have 3 meals that I've not got in and each are 1,000 calories, I would probably do 1,500 calories. I'd have a meal and a half, or I just have a normal meal and I just go right, cool.
I'd probably have something like my normal meal, and then I'd add like
a bowl of cereal.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe like 1,000 carbs from a bowl of cereal.
1,000 carbs.
1,000 calories. 1,000 carbs from a bowl of cereal.
You know, I'm 3,000 calories down, so I'm gonna get 1,000 carbs. Then I'm gonna get 4,000 calories.
I'll just add an extra 1,000 calories. Yeah. Then I'll add some whey to it. Maybe a bit of peanut butter on top.
No, I can't have whey on its own, so I gotta have oats. Oats anyway, so yeah, just gotta get more food.
I'd probably have like 1,000 calories from a cereal meal. Yeah, which sounds like a lot, but it's really not that much. No. You got like just over 200.
Yeah, 200 grams.
200 grams of cereal.
So yeah, there we go.
Shayels 4321. What should be an in general workout split for men's physique competitor?
What do you mean in general? Like just
what would be a split?
An arbitrary like regulated one. Push pull legs, rest, push pull, rest. Yeah. Sound. Everything gets done twice per week. Upper body, lower body 1 time a week. Job's a good one.
Yeah, I think you could potentially you could do that, which I've done with men's physique clients and it works well. or you could do basically where you have like a delt and arm day, a chest focus day, and then or like a chest and back, a delt and arm, and then a pull and a push. Yeah, potentially.
I had with my clients, like it was the one that I ran a fair bit. I think I ran with Connor before. I think actually no, throughout the prep pretty much. I know with Connor it was a push pull. Yeah, I think it might have been actually in it the first time I coached Connor. My men's physique guys, it was like I push a lower, pull and delts, rest, push, and then like pull, but like maybe like a bit of hamstring work.
Yeah, like a leg pull.
Yeah, like a leg pull sort of session if they need it. And usually that's like a little bit, because you can get like 3 times per week pressing frequency, or 3 times per week like pushing musculature frequency with the 2 push sessions and then the pull and delts. You're pulling twice a week, and then also you're doing legs 1 to potentially 2 if you need a bit more. Let's say, just for example, like if your long-term aspirations are to maybe compete in kind of bigger categories, because I think a lot of people nowadays, like they do physique and it's almost a case where like they're either going to outgrow it, or they'll get to a point where they're like, well, I still want to bodybuild, I still want to train hard.
Yeah, and they've got like 3 years where they train legs once.
Yeah, and it's like, well, now you need to play catch up. So like I always remember, like when I was doing physique, people would like almost look at how I train legs and be like, that's a bit like, you're doing physique. And I'm like, well, I still want to be a bodybuilder. Like I still want to train my legs fucking hard, and I still want to grow my legs. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to like just put them on the back burner. Yeah. So like it's still bodybuilding, but I think it's one of those, again, like it's very much kind of person dependent. And also at the same time, you might be a men's physique individual. Again, I know this was general split, but you might be a men's physique individual who's got wicked delts and arms and their back's awful.
I think as well, I think abs are such an overpowering body part for men's physique, that
especially nowadays.
You should definitely be like prioritizing them a lot. Yes. Like you might be having a ab separate, and like literally a separate ab and delt, like ab and side delt day, or abs, calves and side delts. Yeah. Like don't do them on an active rest day. Like literally train them like you would any other body part. Yeah. You might have like abs maybe 3 times per week frequency, but like a lot higher volume than you would, let's say, if you were just training, you didn't have them as a priority. But yeah, they are massively overpowering in men's physique, in like all federations as well. I find, like, again, we've said it before with UK DFBA shows, like the guy who's got the best abs wins. Yeah. Like even if they don't have the best shape or the best posing, like the amount of times that we've seen a guy who's just got good abs, it's like he's going to win, and he wins. Yeah.
So yeah,
I'll carry on just because this one relates to it.
So, crack on, man.
So George McKay, he's starting his prep soon. Yeah. Big G-bum. Do you ever see yourself competing in men's physique again? I guess that could be to both of us.
Me? No, I'm way too big. Maybe if I got on TRT and downsized for like 2 years.
Yeah. And you can't get your back lean anyway.
Yeah, true.
So your back shots just don't look good. You get beat by anyone.
Yeah, I know.
Anybody.
Anybody to be fair, yeah. Wouldn't surprise me.
I don't know. Probably not. But who knows? Like, I'd never say never. I think with a lot of things, I'll always be like, I'm not going to say never. Like, I'm not going to say, no, I'd never do that again. I quite enjoyed it. And I didn't look bad. It's not like I've got great shape for men's physique. Like, I haven't. I've got all right arms, all right chest. My delts are average. My abs are decent. Yeah. Like, I posed okay for it, not amazingly. Like, if I was to properly focus on it, I think I could do all right. But I wouldn't be an amazing men's physique guy.
Same. Do you think you can be an amazing bodybuilder?
Yeah. I already am. I'm a British champ, mate.
Okay.
But yeah, I think like if I was to do it again, it would maybe be just in a similar scenario where it's like a bit of fun just to see how I look on the way down in a diet.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to doing it. Yeah. It didn't take away from the prep, really. Like,
no.
It's not as if I gained loads of weight for that show or anything. It was just like a bit of fun.
Yeah.
But if anything, what took away from the prep was digging loads harder after that, thinking I needed to be a lot leaner, when I needed to be a bit leaner, but probably not that as much as I thought.
Yeah, but you say that, but then the same, like, it's one of those. It's very much relative. Like you say, I needed to be not much leaner, but then you got beat on condition in the UK DFBA. You know, like you know what I mean. Like that's.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I didn't need to be leaner. I think it's how I tried to get leaner was like I could have managed it better to bring a better look.
Yeah, that makes sense. Right. If you drop half your meal on the floor during prep...
This JP?
No. Meal, JP? No.
Imagine, if you drop all the questions are just JP and all just food.
Just JP, like, not even
his bodybuilding account. JP Q&A episode.
JP, you've got a food Q&A. Like, we actually should say something like that. We've got a 20-minute slot for him. Give us as many food questions as possible.
We'll do it next week, mate.
Yeah, so we want, like, 5 to 10 questions just about food from you, mate. And it'll be food special. JP's food special. And then we'll put put JP on the title, so then people think, oh, trained by JP, JP food
We'll put a
special.
photo of it.
Yeah, exactly. Right, if you drop half your meal on the floor during prep, what should you do? I'm gonna be straight up. I'm still eating it. I wouldn't.
Yeah,
like
it depends how bad the floor is.
Yeah, if I can cook it again, if I'm in my kitchen and I'm like, oh, I'll just drop my meal. I'm not gonna scoop it up. I'll be like, I'll just make it again.
Yeah.
But like, let's say
if you've dropped it in like a puddle of mud,
yeah,
would you pick it up? No, you'd leave it.
no,
If you dropped it on a clean floor, you'd be like, oh, just quickly put it back in the tub and
yeah,
blow on it a bit. Give it a quick blowy.
cut a blow, yeah.
I just give someone a blowy if I drop my food on the floor.
Just give him a blowy. Can I have your meal, please, mate? I'll give you a blowjob. Imagine.
In all seriousness, if I was to, like, let's say, so I've got my meal after this podcast, my mince, my rice, and my veg. Okay. If I was to drop half of that on this floor, I'd be like, oh fuck! I'd just quickly scoop it up and I'd eat it. Yeah. But if I was to drop it outside, I'd probably be like, oh shit, and I'd just account for half of it.
No, what you do is you look around, like, no one's here. Right, scoop it up. Anyone's here? Oh no, I can't eat that.
I'd probably just account for it later on. Yeah. Or I'd just remember and go, right, today I was. It depends. Like, if I dropped, let's say, all the mince fell out of the top, I wouldn't be like, oh, I'll just eat the rice. No, I'd probably just leave the meal and be like, right, I'll just make something when I'm next home, or I'll just quickly buy something. Yeah. Like, but if I dropped like just the veg, I'd be like, depends which components did you drop. So much that goes into it.
I remember in my first prep, I spilt my cream of rice on the way to physio, and it went all over my car floor, and I didn't eat it, and I about cried. But like, it was past the point of like, this was just, it was fucked. It was because when you're prepping, obviously, your cream of rice, you're probably going to make a bit more water. You don't have that much food, and it was just like a watery, like literally just looked like someone's just like had diarrhea, but like no, just like water just on my floor of my car.
You didn't fancy it? Didn't look very
I just looked at it and was like, I can't even eat that. I tried to. I didn't, but I looked at it and I was like, I can't eat that, and I about cried. So
that is horrible though. Like,
it was awful. It was really bad.
Even now, like on my rest days, my cream of rice. I only have cream of rice once a week now. Okay. Twice a week on rest days, and I do really enjoy it. But I do find it's one of the meals that doesn't sit as well. It's fine, but it's not as good as everything else. It's like that's why I only have it now. I was having it post workout before I've changed it. But I do really enjoy it. It's like even now, if I was to drop that, I'd be like, oh fuck. I would be gutted.
Like that meal. Come on, I have all the meals.
I would be pissed off.
No, right. You want that B12, bruh?
Is that Josh?
Yeah, you want that B12, dude? When we were in Vegas, this guy that was like stood out of the hotel looked at all of us and he was like, yo, you guys on that B12, you bumping that B12, dude?
You know what I'm talking about.
And then I turned around and he goes, you know what I'm talking about, look at you, to me.
We're all like, we actually don't. Like, no. What I talked about.
What it'd be like, so we all Googled it and we were like, oh yeah, well, B12 injections.
I thought he was on about vitamin B12 injections, but I was like, I'm sure, like, I thought he was saying it to you because you're big, like, but maybe he's just saying it to all of us. To be fair, I think like had we just trained and maybe we looked a bit vascular and it was like, I didn't look vascular. I just looked fat and pale like in Vegas.
Yeah, shocking. Worst you ever looked. So.
But it is,
Probably, mate. I saw the photo. No, is it the reel you posted this morning? You look like ill. Like
it's just because I was so pale. Yeah. So because I didn't have because I wasn't having sunbeds, and obviously like that day that we went to Vegas, like the day or two before, I just got off all the tan. It's like 2 weeks after, I just got it all off, and I did look like really pale. Yeah. So the camera just cut out, but we confirmed that I looked awful and pale in Vegas. Next question.
Do you want to go, mate?
So Lewis Beecroft, one player you can both realistically sign this window.
Kylian Mbappe.
Realistically.
Summer Mbappe. To be fair, actually, have you seen all the reports that have come out about it?
You're not.
It's mental. No, I don't think we will. I think we've got like maybe a 2% chance. But if there's anyone other than Real Madrid who needs to leave PSG, I think it would be Liverpool, which would be cool. It'd be wicked for the Premier League, but I
don't think it'd be good for Liverpool though.
You don't think it would ruin our morale?
I think so.
Yeah. I think the obvious answer for Liverpool would be like Paulino from Fulham, like played yesterday. He's just a ball winner, isn't he? Yeah, but
they nearly got him before, didn't they?
But I also think he's a bit old for like and what we need. And like Endo is actually like very good. Like as much I thought he was like a Make-A-Wish player where we just said, you know what,
he's decent.
Yeah, he's actually like really good. I've been surprised by him. So it's one of those for Liverpool. I think if we were to look upon what we need for this, like for where we are with their injuries, like probably a defensive-minded player. We've been linked to that Ignacio from Sporting, and then that Diamonde from I think his partner, who's like 6'4", like just a big black dude who's just a big defender. So like Kanate 2.0. Yeah. But Liverpool have got like a bit of a weird sort of squad where it's like very hard to kind of buy for because we've got a lot of midfielders. We've got like our players are quite flexible nowadays. So I wouldn't really be able to say one. If I was to say one, I'd probably say, like, give me a defensive mid. Give me Xiaomeni. I'd love that, but that's not going to be happening.
Realistic.
That's not going to be happening in January. So
United aren't going to get anyone, I don't think.
Yeah,
we never do.
But you also need a lot of players. Like, that's the thing. Like, there's not just one. What position would you highlight?
I think we definitely need a backup striker or a main striker.
Bring back
so
De Gea?
Rasmus would be a backup. We're not going to change keeper now.
No, you'll keep it. No. And then what? Striker,
right
bring up a
right winger, a striker, a left winger, a
midfielder.
No, we need a right winger. To be fair, I wouldn't even say right wing. Like, I don't mind Rashford on the left, Garnacho on the right, Rasmus up front. I think that's quite nice.
Yeah.
But then we need a backup, a decent right wing backup. We probably need a decent backup to all of those.
Yeah. Finn's exact words the other day about Anthony was like, I actually feel sorry for him.
Yeah, I do feel sorry for him.
Yeah. I don't know who's saying
he just should not be at that level. It's just unfair. It's like, I bet he thinks like, fucking hell, why have I shouldn't have even come to this club.
I saw a TikTok and it was like Garnacho and Anthony. It was shared on Twitter, and it was like they went through the teams in the league, and they were like, do they start for Liverpool? No. Arsenal? No. City? No. Villa? No. And it got down to like 17th, and he was like, maybe. Like,
I think Garnacho would for not maybe like the top 8, but I think below that he probably would.
Yeah.
Anthony, probably like, I think his level is like Everton, Bournemouth, Forest.
Yeah. Right. I think Everton seems like it's a club that would just like fit him. Like, that seems like a player that would be like, he'd probably be quite light there. He's all right on the ball, but he's just not though. Yeah, he's not that fast. He doesn't really create much.
He's just so predictable. Yeah. But I think a backup striker, I think would link to Choupo-Moting, which is very uninspiring, but only uninspiring because of his time at Stoke. I think if he'd never been at Stoke and like everything he'd done, he'd be like,
wicked CV.
Yeah,
PSG,
sound.
Yeah, Bayern Munich. Like,
but I don't think we will. Like, we were only ever in January in the loan market, and we never really get anybody anyway. Like January, we do almost just ignore it. So, wouldn't surprise me if we maybe panic at the end and get someone in on loan who's old and just a backup striker to Rasmus, and that's it.
Yeah. Imagine you get an offer like, take it or leave it, my friend. For you, special deal. Choupo-Moting. 6-month loan. Like, special deal.
We need it, to be fair, we need a centre-back.
So what position? You got to pick one.
If I'm picking one position, if everybody was fit, I'd probably say probably a centre-back. Because like, we're playing Johnny Evans, and he's not even doing bad, but we're playing Johnny Evans for like, every game.
Who would you be looking at centre-back with? Should have got Kim Min-jae. Should have threw the bag at him in the summer.
I don't even know who we'd get centre-back. Eric Dyer.
Yeah, you wish you had Jarrell Kwanzaa.
I actually wouldn't even mind Eric Dyer. I don't think he's bad.
Yeah, right, fair enough. Eric Dyer and then Paulina. It's a good thing that we're podcast people who do not get paid millions to run clubs and stuff like that. Sporting directors. To be fair, you probably wouldn't be too bad for United. It'd be better than whatever they have now. It wouldn't be hard, would it? Yeah, right. Goal weight and length for the tidy up. No, you'll probably cover already, but just in case. Josh, good one, mate. I haven't actually answered. We didn't really speak really at all regarding like me or Finn, because Finn's just getting fat and I'm getting less fat. I
don't know. You're in that fat and flat stage.
Oh yeah, I'm getting less fat. But I said to Sanaya the other day, I was like, I'm definitely in that point where I just look like very, very flat in comparison to where I was, but then also not like lean enough to actually notice. Like, my legs have definitely got a little bit leaner, but then like, my legs are always pretty lean and my legs always stay relatively full.
It's but more like, so just your upper body, like you're just a bit flatter, so you look softer.
Yeah. But goal weight for tidy up and length. Well, I was 119.3 this morning. That's 5.7 down in, Thursday, and I started on Monday of last week. So, 10 days?
10 days, 11 days.
Which is sound. I wanted to be sub 120 by like Monday, and I was there on Sunday, so I was a day ahead. So I had a massive binge on Sunday. So I was like, yes, I'm a day ahead, so therefore I can eat up for a day. No. The initial 4, 5, 6 kilos, especially when you're utilising PEDs, like insulin use, growth hormone's been like kind of lowered slightly. It's still in play, but there's going to be a fair bit less kind of water. From now, it's probably going to be actually where I look a little bit leaner, probably from the next couple of kilos that come off, which should hopefully occur soon. I'm probably going to drop food this weekend. My food's still really high. Like, it's like 3,800 on training days, but I'm also, because I feel fine, and I should feel fine, I'm chubby, like on training days when I've trained on I trained on one meal on like Tuesday, and like for the rest of the day I was like, well, I don't need the same carbs, so I just like I have them in my normal post, but then I usually would have like how I situate my carbs now is 100 carb meal 1, 150 carb pre, 175 carb post, and then 100 and then 50, where like I was like, well, I've already trained, so I don't need that 100 carb in my first meal. It's going to be my post, so I pulled that down to 50, and then I don't need 100 carb in my next meal because I'm not training, so I'll just have that as 50 carb. So like I almost like auto-regulating food, which
I think that's something that like we definitely both do more so now. Like even like Jack's question about the 3,000 calories thing. 2-3 years ago I'd have been like, I need to eat 3,000 calories, whereas now it's like I've learned that's actually going to be more of a detriment. Like I'm actually going to feel worse. My sleep will be shit. I'll be digesting food all night. I'll be waking up loads. Like I'll be, like you say, no appetite in the morning. I'll probably feel shit in the morning. That'll maybe impact my training. Instead, I'll just have 1,000 calories of something I know is going to digest well, and I'll still feel fine. And body weight might be down a touch, but
it's not going to make it'll be
down tomorrow.
So food on training days, like I said, I've been kind of like, I say auto-regulating. I've got a base, but I just make manipulations based on how I feel. Non-train days, 300 carb, which is like probably the lowest I've had my carbs since probably like, because obviously I was like reversing up, probably like death protocol, and then maybe like not even like 3-4 weeks out, probably like earlier than that, which is nice. It's actually nice to like on a rest day be like, I don't have to eat loads of food, which is quite cool. So yeah, when it comes to duration and like goal weight like low teens, so like 110 to 112. Like when I was at 110 last time, I was like pretty like I looked really good. I was lean, so another like 7-8 kilos from this point, I reckon I'd be like more to like reassess and think like, okay, cool, how do I look? And then for the length, probably another 5 weeks, 6, like mid Feb to back end of Feb, I'd like to imagine.
Done in 8 weeks.
Like I didn't want to be any longer than like 8 weeks. Like if I was still dieting in March, and Jesus Christ, I've done something fucking wrong. Like especially with how my body responds. So yeah, like realistically, see how I look. That'll then kind of see me nicely into either another push, or potentially if I like look really really good, I might prep, but I most likely will go into another push because I know I'll need areas to improve. More. Yeah, like I look a hell of a lot better. Like I'd be really confident in how I look, but I also am like, I don't want to step on stage and be like, well, I just got beat because I'm getting beat by bigger dudes. I'd just be like, well, I should fucking just get into it. Because I think like if I was to look upon like the amateurs who I'd be up against, like I said this before, like I could turn up at a PCA show or a Physique show in bodybuilding now and do probably quite well in an open class, but I don't want it where I'm like doing quite well. I want it where I'm like, oh shit, I'm like actually very, very, very good. And in open bodybuilding, if you're getting beat by people with bigger size and you're competing year on year on year, I think you're a bit of a fucking idiot, because it's like, just get to growing, which is going to be where you're actually spending time pushing body weight up, being heavier. And as a result of that, like again, unless I get to 110 and I'm like, oh, I look really, really, really fucking good, and I like felt really good, and it's like, okay, cool, I only need to pull off 5-6 more kilos, but the likelihood is I'd look at it and go, probably just need to be bigger, so therefore I need to be bigger. So yeah, that'd be that. Your one, mate?
Also from Josh, he actually asked 2. I'll do the silly one first. He asked us a silly question. Do you wipe your ass front to back or back to front? Back to front is wrong, in my opinion.
Back?
Actually put so wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah, front to back.
Front to back.
Yeah.
Do you do it sitting down or standing up?
Fuck that, I can't do it sitting down.
No, I can't.
No, I stand up. Yeah. Or I don't even wipe.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, just can't stand up and go, that'll be a good
I don't even go to the toilet. Shit in my pants.
I don't even use the toilet, bro. I just wear a diaper constantly. I'm wearing a nappy right now.
Get home, Shannon, sort me out.
Yeah, lift your legs up, imagine.
Usually doing check-ins. So.
Yeah, undress it.
Yeah, she just sorts me out. Sorry, guys. Shannon's just sorting out my nappy while
I'm no, mate. Well, imagine mid-check-in, she'd be like, oh, sorry, just being like suboptimal. You're like, can't go away from this. You need, you like, can't
Tell you what,
go around the check-in.
Yeah, say to your client, like, that's how important you are.
Yeah.
I won't pause this to go to the toilet.
I'll just do it right now and clean myself up later today after I get all my check-ins done and after I go and train.
That's a good. It's a good segue. Realistically, this is Josh again.
Yeah.
How many clients do you think you'll have at once before stopping? Before stopping completely?
Yeah.
Just get to a certain point and then just give up coaching.
I imagine being like, right, that's it.
Hi
done.
guys, I've hit a certain amount.
I've hit a cap, so therefore none of you are my clients anymore. I'm not coaching. I don't have a number. It would be like, in an ideal world, I honestly don't think in 3 years, 2 years, I want more clients than I do now. Like
I think we've said, haven't we? We'll probably have less.
Yeah, I'd like to have less. Like this year for me, like I quite like to get a good understanding regarding gym situations, stuff like that moving forward in the future. Obviously, I'm most likely to be moving out with Sanaa, so that'd be something that again helps. And as a result of all of that, like if I was to skip ahead, if I was still had the same amount of clients in 2 or 3 years, I'd be like, Jesus Christ, Reese, come on, like drop down. Like, so that's not to say I haven't, like, not to say I've hit a peak now, but it's more so quality and also at the same time time availability based off other things that I'd probably want to be kind of cracking on with. And as a result, like, I don't really have a direct number, but it wouldn't be like, I wouldn't want to have 20 more clients than what I do now in a year or two. Yeah. You know,
I think like you get to a certain point. I remember like throughout the prep for me, it was like I stopped taking people on because I was like, partly because of the prep, but also I was like, I don't really think I can handle many more people.
Yeah.
Then obviously you can like push people towards Noah, or you could bring on further, like, you know, you could bring on more coaches, which is something that I think we both said, you know, we could definitely do, like, yeah, expand the team and grow like that, which would be awesome. But yeah, I think in the longer term, like we've said, you know, an ideal scenario for us would be where we've maybe got 2 or 3 people that work alongside us. We maybe have more of a say in sort of the specialist clients, if you like, for those that are wanting to compete. We sort of have that focus of maybe 20 to 30 prep clients every year, and then maybe have, like, obviously if we still have clients who are like off-season clients, but it wouldn't be where we're trying to gain more and more clients. Like, whereas now, like, we're still like, yeah, we could take people on, like, especially if it's like people who apply who are like really good. You think, oh yeah, amazing. But I think, yeah, in a few years' time, there'll be more focus, more responsibilities, probably more clients competing at that stage, which requires more time. Like a prep client, if you think about it at the time, like they're checking in every day. Like it's definitely more work. You get into a good routine with it, but it is definitely more work than just throughout the off season. So yeah, it's hard to say a certain number because, again, you adapt as well. Like if you'd have asked us this 3 years ago, we'd have been like, oh, we won't be able to handle more than 30.
Yeah.
But like now, if I was to have 30 clients, I'd be like, I have no work.
Yeah, I'm unemployed. Yeah, I'm unemployed and I don't know what I'm gonna do. That's what it would be. Yeah, help me right now. Right, best gyms
questions done, by the way. Questions done.
Okay, so I've got a few more. We'll wrap up. Best gyms in East London. Ever been to London, mate?
I've been to London, yeah. I don't know East London.
London gyms are a bit shy. There's obviously a few of the King's gyms. They're like down that sort of way, but I honestly have no idea. Like, where is East London? Like, is it the rough end?
I'm looking at
South East is pretty rough, isn't it?
Is East London like Dartford? I'm scrolling out. I don't know. Again, we don't, because we're not from down south. It's different. Like Greenwich, is that East London?
Yeah, Greenwich Towers, mate. Don't train there. You can't. I shouldn't say that. Yeah, the Greenwich Towers, the ones that there was a fire in, I think.
What? Oh, is that there?
Yeah, I said don't train there, but you can't now.
Yeah, Sam's gonna have to cut that out.
You cut that out, Sam.
Can't say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I'm just not.
I'm looking here on the map.
I don't know enough about London areas to class it. Like, I have clients that train that are from London, from down south, that train in London, but I wouldn't know if they're east or west or north.
No, I just know south. London. Like, we're like Americans, where it's like, you from London, dude?
Well, it's like people from down south think that everywhere up north is like the same.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, it's like they think that we're northern, we're not really. We're Midlands. Like,
even though Finn says combine harvester.
I say that all the time.
Yeah, he always talks about his combine harvester
all the time,
and turnips and I don't even know what it is. What's the? I got to harvest. That's what he says. Got to harvest for Easter.
Got to harvest the crop.
Harvest the crop. Yeah.
Every morning. That's why I'm up so early.
We don't know, unfortunately, mate. What I would say is, when you're there, just get there and type "good gyms near me" and just see what pops up on Google, and then I just have a look. That's usually what I do when I'm going to an area or I'm at an area that I'm not too sure on, because we're not too sure on, unfortunately.
The thing is, like, if I was in London, right, obviously I could check on the map where I am, but like, I wouldn't even know if I was east.
No,
like, if I was to be like, oh, I'm going to London, like, if people to go where, I'd go, oh, here, and they'd be like, oh, right, East London. Like, oh, I didn't know, like, because I've not spent enough time there.
Yeah, no. I agree. What are your long-term goals in bodybuilding? Pro card / international titles. Survival, I guess. Try not to die. Long-term goals. Enjoy the process, I guess. I train really hard. Like, I look upon things more so training-wise, and as a result, like, that'll probably show my physique. I reckon, like, especially like with my potential, I reckon I'd definitely like get a pro card eventually. I think international titles, I think I wouldn't really ever be like, I want to go and compete at like the GBO, whatever. Is it GBO? You know, the NFM one that they've sacked it off to. I don't think I've ever thought to myself, like, I'd compete abroad, like in the NPC, but I wouldn't be like, let me just go and spend loads of money to compete with the NFM.
Yeah.
I'd just be thinking to myself, that's a bit of a waste of time. And like realistically, like if you're pretty good in England and like let's say you're qualifying to the point where you were to win shows. Let's say for example, if I did an NFM show and I was to win the overall, and they were to be like, you're at, I know they don't do the thing anymore. They've sacked it up. But they were like, you're Atlas qualified. You're gonna be on that plane. I'd be like, no, like I'm not gonna be on that plane. I'm just, if I was that good to the point where like let's say I was like, let's say undeniable, I'd be like, why the fuck am I doing like amateur shows and not testing myself in pro qualifiers? So yeah, I think like the next time I compete, it will be a case of probably let's say just getting my feet wet in actual bodybuilding. I'd like an open bodybuilding win. That would be like the absolute minimum. I'd like a few. I probably would compete with the PCA. I'd do Fitex and I'd probably do a 2 bro show, similar to in a way like to my first season of men's physique, to kind of just see how I fall. And then it would be a case of like, right, cool, now I've probably got to crack on. I've got to kind of climb the ranks to be actually at the top of the game for amateurs. Hopefully the next time I compete, I'm like really good as an amateur, and it's like that might be within maybe the next year or whatever. But I've also had a few people like had a comment, and I've had a few people like pro card this. It's like fucking pro card in open bodybuilding at 25 doesn't happen. Like unless you're a genetic outlier. Like I haven't even had a full bodybuilding prep. Like realistically, I'll probably do okay. But if you look at the actual echelon of people that are going pro, they are fucking massive. They are my weight right now, stage condition. Like I need like 15 kilos. To get in a pro card in like physique, isn't it? Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I need a lot more size. But long-term goals, I'd say a pro card if I was to say it. But I don't really have that as like a. I've never thought to myself like it'd be cool, and I probably will get one, but it's not going to be where like this is the be all and end all. This is the only thing I'm going for.
I think once you are in the prep and once you are competing show to show, like that would be your goal.
Yeah. If I was to, let's say for example, if I was to do a pro qualifier or let's say I do a regional and do well, and then do a pro qualifier and get like second or third.
Yeah, you wouldn't be going into it thinking like, oh, it doesn't matter because
I'd be like, okay,
I want to try and get it.
Now it's a case of actually cracking on and seeing, and that would be a bit different. But until then, like I think it's just one of those where I'm like. I live as much as obviously it sounds cringy, I live as a pro already, in the way of like I do everything as a pro should. Like I treat myself as I am a professional bodybuilder.
Sleep, posing.
I could be
things you could be better at.
Yeah, but I treat like I still treat it very diligent towards like my posing could be better, but I've only been a bodybuilder for fucking less than a year technically. Like my sleep is the best it can be relative to me as a heavy individual. Definitely need a CPAP.
I think you can improve on a lot of things.
I think I could, but do you not think that's what bodybuilding is all about?
Yeah, but like, then if you're going, I live my life like a pro and I nail everything.
I go to bed at the exact same time every single day. I wake up at the exact same time. 2 a.m. No,
get up at 11.
Yeah, get up at 11. I go to bed at the same time every day, midnight. And I wake up at 4 a.m. and then play some video games and just do the same thing. No, I go to bed every day at the same time. I do everything. I eat the same meals. I train like... there's not an achievement, there's not an award for doing what you fucking need to do to improve. Yeah. Like I think
there is, like you say, there is always more. Like
there is always more. Yeah, I don't look at it and think I am maxed out, I am perfect. No one's perfect, but also I think it's quite simple, and this is again a cocky sort of thought process. But if you were to look at the progress that say I've made since my prep, I don't think many people have made similar, but that's because I've been absolutely spot on, as I always have been, and as you fucking should be if you're wanting to make progress. Like, and that's not, I don't say that with like,
just be the norm.
Pat me on the back. No, it's not pat me on the back. This is just what I do. Like, it's how I've always been, and I don't take that as an achievement. It's more so just what I know, and it's how I am. Like, I don't miss sessions. I don't miss meals. I don't fucking sleep for 4 hours. Like, granted, my sleep could be better quality wise, and probably duration as well. But then also I have to balance being busy with work. Like. There's only so much you can do, and there's not been a time like if you were to say to me honestly, could I have done more? I think like I could, but then it would have sacrificed other things, and like overall I'm like very happy with the trajectory, you know. So yeah, that's that. But yeah, definitely like a fair few long-term goals if I think about them, but I don't really specify them as by this date, by this, by that. It's like just see how things go.
Yeah, I think the best thing to do is literally just keep taking it a day at a time.
Yeah,
like,
just enjoy the process, not
focus on the next session. Yeah. Like, that's one thing that I've like really benefited from post-show. I think I was sort of thinking about when I'm going to feel like back to myself again. When am I going to start seeing myself looking better again? When am I going to start being back at peak strength? Like instead, I'm just now thinking about the given day, making sure I make the most of the session, enjoying the session, just ticking the boxes like I always have done. Whereas I think like post-show, you almost have that. And even like throughout the prep, in between shows, you have like a boost of motivation where you're constantly thinking about like the next show or or when it's off season and the improvements you're going to make.
You almost wish time away, and also you get so obsessed with regarding a result that's going to be opinion based. So when you finish and it's like you almost kind of lose out and like, wait, why am I doing this? Like, it's almost like a bit of a null period where like it's very hard, and it's very, a lot of people have like post-show, post-prep blues, you know, unless you're JP and you just eat yourself up and you're just so happy, and you're just like, I get to eat so much food now. But in most situations, it is a bit of a weird period, and like, especially when you don't have goals, because the whole prep is goal of this, goal of that. When you then think, well, fucking, I've not got any goals. It's
That's
like
why I think, like
odd.
say, you should literally just switch that focus to training.
What do you do?
Enjoying training, progressing training, and just making the most out of every session. Like, I'm in that position now where I'm like going into every session, just focusing on like making the most of it, enjoying it, progressing.
So you got no goals?
But like, goals. Well, no, I'm not thinking about like when am I next going to compete, or like I don't need to think about that now.
What are your goals if you have any? If you were to
have any, of zero goals.
Zero goals.
What's the question?
What are your long-term goals in bodybuilding / pro card, international titles, etc.?
Well, I've already got a British title, so I've already done everything.
You've already completed it.
I've already completed life.
Yeah.
No, I still think like my goals before this prep were that I want to, in the future, get a WMBF pro card, which I still think is definitely achievable.
Yeah.
I just need time, and I just want to be better. Like
beat AJ Morris on stage.
Yeah, definitely.
That one of your
That's
goals?
my biggest goal ever.
Yeah.
Beat AJ.
Yeah.
No, I just think I just want to be better. Just like I think a lot of the time, again, it's based on a result or based on a pro card or based on a title. Like, no, I just want to be better. I want to be a better bodybuilder. I want to progress in and out the gym. I want to be doing things in the gym that I think, fucking hell, that's pretty cool that I'm doing that. I want to look at myself and think, oh shit, I've grown and I actually look decent. I've made some progress. Like, and at the time, you don't really realize it as well, because like I'm doing that now basically, and I was doing that for months before the prep. Throughout a lot of the prep, only towards the end was I like, okay, I'm starting to look worse. Yeah. But yeah, like, at the time you don't really realize that you're in it. Like if we look back at my last off season, I got fat, but it was like incredibly productive. And like even the pre-prep diet and then the push up before the prep, like all of those were really, really productive. Like I made loads of progress and I felt really good and I looked really good and I was really happy with it. And then coming out of like obviously the prep and post show, psychologically you don't feel great. You're looking at yourself getting a bit softer, so you're thinking, oh, I don't look as good. It's all normal in that post show phase, but like I say, now the goal is just enjoy the day to day, make the most of each session, focus on just trying to be present and enjoy the process rather than stressing about an arbitrary goal of a pro card or a certain body weight to hit or anything like that. Just enjoy the process, and before you know it, a month's gone by and you're a pound or two up and you look better and you're bigger and you're stronger. Another month or two goes by, you're another couple of pounds up, you're bigger, you're stronger. You do that for months and months on end and
you'll be a fat mess.
You're actually decent.
You'll be a fat mess. You're strong, which is what everyone wants to be.
No, but like that is literally all you need to focus on. I think people can stress too much about like certain goals. For some people it'll definitely help, but I think especially for me right now, like just coming out, I still feel like I'm just coming out of a prep. Like last thing I need to be thinking is like, when am I next going to prep? Yeah. I just want to be thinking about enjoying my training and getting strong and being in a good spot.
Yeah. No. Right. Last question. Actually, no, two more. Actually, I'm going to change it because it's only about my car. But what car would you get next? Well, that wasn't the question. It was from Josh, but it was about like the next car that I've spoke about. But I'll ask you.
Whichever is going to save me the most money in tax.
Really?
Probably.
Yeah. You got any ideas, like thoughts, like what you'd like?
Probably some form of electric car,
like a Tesla,
a Porsche.
Yeah, those Porsches. I think was it Aaron was telling me? I'm guessing he told you. Yeah. The Toucan Porsches have like, because everyone, loads of like business owners bought them. They're now like 50 grand, 60 grand, where they're not that much, and obviously you can just run it through a business. So, but that being said, I can't imagine ever turning a car on and being like I'd like to hear an engine.
Less, like, I'm not that arsed about that. Like, as long as it looks nice and it drives nicely and it's a bit nippy. Like, I like the Mustang just because it looks cool. Like, and I don't see them a lot. Yeah. Like, that's why I bought it. People are like, oh, you know, what's this? What's that? I don't know. Yeah. Like, I don't know. If you ask me what brake horsepower it is, I don't have a clue.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, anyway, Josh asked if I get the Turbo S. Yeah, most likely. Porsche Turbo S, that'll be the next car that I want. I don't think I get anything other than that. That's like, in my head, as a kid, I always wanted like certain cars. And like, I've always wanted like, I wanted like a BM M3. I said this to Josh, like, but then the M3s nowadays are 5 doors. I don't like them. And the M4s, I didn't really, I like an M4, but I think they're pretty big. So I wanted something that was a bit smaller. So that's why I got the M2 Comp. And then the next one was like a top end Porsche. So I
always wanted a Bugatti Veyron.
I love Bugatti Veyrons. They were cool because when we were growing up, that was like the fastest car. Yeah. Like me and Finn's age, yeah. When they released like the Bugatti Veyron, it was like 40 miles like an hour quicker than like the next faster car. It was it was the biggest step. Like we don't really follow cars nowadays, but like back in the day, Top Gear was like legit.
But I just remember it being like the one.
Yeah, and then like there was a rumor about like there's a Koenigsegg. Do you remember the Koenigsegg? Like, have you heard of one of them? That was like a car that like some people were like, it's faster than the Veyron, and it was like people were like arguing, no, the Veyron's faster. But there was a Koenigsegg like 3.6. I don't even know, like something. Never heard of a Koenigsegg.
No, it sounds fucking weird.
I'll show you it in the
next
like a
question. Sexual thing.
Okay, fine. I'll show you that. I'll show you it now.
Give me a Koenigsegg.
Yeah, Koenigsegg. Right, last one. Matt LeMay, and I always read his name Matt LeMay. So Matt LeMay. Matt LeMay. Turning up every day on socials. At the expense of quality, or less often but higher quality? Ideally both, bro. But yeah, what would you prefer?
It's quite a good question, to be fair, because like we'll put stories on every day of our clients, we'll reshare posts and stuff, and I almost think it's quite nice to just reshare. Like if a client posts me in a story that they're happy with how they look, like I think that's really nice. If a client's like tagging me in stories, and like it's of their training and they're really happy with the set, or it's a post-workout photo and they're happy with it, like I'm gonna share that because it's nice that they want to tag me in it and they're like proud of what they're doing and the progress they're making. I think that's amazing. Like, so I'm gonna reshare it. I feel like no matter how busy I got, I'd still want to reshare it. You know what I mean? Whereas if it's like clients tagging me in their training every day, I don't need to share them all. Likewise, I think with my own content, like I like to post ideally a couple of times a day. One of them maybe being a bit more informative, or one of them being a reel, and one of them maybe being a post, or one of them being like training related and the other being potentially like, you know, client related or whatever it may be. But I think it almost wants to be a combination of like frequency and quality, but I would argue frequency is going to be more important, because if you posted one amazing Instagram post every month, you're not going to grow your social media. You're not going to get any real reach for your clients.
Unless you've got a really good like foundation already. Someone like JP, or like, let's say Dan T. Trudeau. Whenever he posts like one a month, and I always see it because people share it.
Yeah, but I mean, like for anybody trying to grow their social media or trying to grow a client base, like you need to be more present. You need to be a bit more frequent.
Yeah,
you need to get your name out there.
People love and the people invest in.
Like, I've invest in the person.
Yeah, like the first time I prepped, like I had like 6, 7, 8K followers, and I remember like at a few shows, a few people came up to me and they were like, "Oh, I've listened to some of the podcasts." They would like say stuff that I've mentioned on posts before, and I'm like, "That's a bit weird." Like,
you forget that people do actually have an interest and they do follow it along.
Yeah, exactly. Like it. So I would just say, if anything, just be for Matt, for example. Like he looks really good. Like he's got really, like I say, potential. He's not got potential. He's there. Like he's class. Not as good as Finley though. Finley beat you in the overall. But away from Finley beating you in the overall, mate. If we were to look at, let's say, someone like yourself, like just put yourself out there. You're strong. You train really well. Like you don't really train like your standard men's physique guy, which is cool to see. Like you train fucking hard. You look really, really good. And like like let's say, for example, if you were to put prep update, like when Zach makes some changes for you, whatever, put your food, put what you're doing. Like I know you already do stuff like that already, but like if, for example, with him, like I'll actually see some of his stories, you might see some check-in photos, you see his standard stood on a treadmill, like taking a selfie of his t-shirt, and then like Monday ticks or whatever, like he puts like a thing and it's like cardio done, but it's like actually put what you're doing and how things are into greater detail. And like I give a fuck, like, and if I give a fuck, like, because I actually think Matt's a nice guy. Most people, a lot of other people would probably pay attention. Not saying they already don't, but like,
I think as well, like almost like not searching for that instant gratification, and not thinking like every post has to have warrant,
has to boom, or has to get an X amount of likes.
Every single post, like expecting to hit a certain amount of likes or expecting to get responses from it. Like just put out what you're doing. Like I've literally now, like I'll post pretty much on training days. I'll post my training in the evening, and sometimes I'll just post my training, or I'll post about what I thought in the session, or like yesterday we added those pauses into the squat press, so I was like, I'm going to write about that, and like, I literally write about it for like 2 minutes, and I'm like, cool. Like it's just my thought process of what I'm doing. Whereas like a few years ago, I'd have overthought every post, and I'd have been like, this has to sound really scientific, or I have to make sure that it's really, or it's giving out loads of information, it's really sort of in detail. Instead, like just put your thought process down, why you're doing what you're doing. People invest in it. And then like, even on rest days, like it might be that you put physique shots up because you've not got training clips to post from that day, like, or you post maybe one day behind. Like obviously it's good that we've got Sam for reels, but like even if you didn't have Sam, like or anybody who does your content for you. Like, look at my old content. Like, I used to prop up my phone. I used to talk to the camera all the time. I have series on my Instagram still that were like supplement science series, anatomy explained series, like all these things that at the time I wasn't like, oh, these have to boom, or I have to get loads of clients from these. But like looking back now, they will have really helped me get to where I am now without even really realizing. You know what I mean? Just through people going, oh shit, this guy actually knows his stuff. This guy's pretty sound in front of a camera. Like, it all helps. Then the podcast, like, we didn't start the podcast thinking, oh, I hope it booms and we get loads of people watching, or I hope we get loads of clients from it. Yeah. But think how many clients we've got from the podcast. Like, a lot of times just do it. Like, just, if you're thinking about doing something or you're thinking about posting,
just
post
do it and just see. People instantly want that, like, immediate, as you said, like that gratification, that X amount of likes, certain amount of views, and it's like you just got to post your shit and just enjoy actually what you're doing, and just almost just think like this is a long-term sort of game, and it might not instantly reward you in clients or instantly reward you in like followers or whatever, but just put yourself out there.
I wouldn't even, I guess you can relate it to training very, very much. So like, if you're looking at your physique every day, if you're checking if you've grown, like you're gonna hate it. Like, you're just gonna be constantly like, fucking hell, I'm not getting anywhere. It's like, if you look at your followers every day and they've gone up by 5, or it's gone down by 2, like, you're just going to be like, oh, it's not fucking worth it, I'm going to stop posting. Like, or just be consistent with it, just like you are within your bodybuilding. Like, it's no different. It's like anything in life. You just got to keep at it, keep being consistent, keep doing the do, and it pays off in the long run. Like, again, we always say, like, if we were to go back 3 to 5 years and look where we are now, we'd be like, fucking hell, that's cool. But when you get there, all it is just doing what we did 3 to 5 years ago, but better and more. Like,
there's nothing magic to it, you know. So, that's that. So that's that, Matt. Hopefully you do well this year. I'm looking out for you, mate. I don't know when your first show is, but I know that he's prepping currently, so hopefully that goes well. And that is the questions, mate. Anything you want to leave us upon, or do you want to just wrap it up there?
Wrap it up. Have we... it's died.
Has it died?
Yeah.
It already died?
The one job Reese has for this podcast is to make sure the iPad has charge.
It has 40.
I do everything else.
It had 40% when we
Sam does more than Reese. Way more.
We fucking pay Sam, you'd hope so. I don't get paid for this. You getting paid for this?
No,
Sam gets paid for this.
I'm in charge.
Yeah, so I need to bring my charger, to be fair, so I'll start bringing that. Hopefully everyone's enjoyed. Any questions, story tags, anything like that, let us know. Tags and stories, all that sort of stuff. And we'll catch you guys later on. Bye-bye.